Morning everyone, how are you doing? Are you ready to meet our next disciple? We've met lots. I'm not going to list them all out because that would make this video really long. We're going to go to Matthew. Now, the Matthew that wrote the book of Matthew in the Bible is the same Matthew that was one of Jesus's disciples. Now, Matthew was a tax collector, like Zacchaeus, you know, the guy that was up in the tree. As far as I know, Matthew wasn't a bad tax collector, but he was a tax collector. And one day, Jesus came along and he said, "Matthew, follow me." And Matthew said, "All right then." And off they went. And after Matthew said he would follow Jesus, he took him to his house for some tea, which was really nice. And then one of the very next things that happened, you can read about it in Matthew chapter 9, bearing in mind that Matthew who wrote it was Matthew who was actually there, or you can read it in Mark chapter 5. One of the days when Jesus was talking, a ruler from the synagogue came to see him. He bowed down before him and said, "My daughter is dying, but come and touch her with your hand, and she will live again." So Jesus stood up and he went with the ruler, and all of the disciples went too. And while they were all walking along and there was a really big crowd, a woman came up and touched Jesus' cloak. This poor woman had been bleeding for 12 years. She'd been to see all sorts of doctors. She'd tried everything. She'd spent all of her money trying to get better, and it hadn't worked. But when she touched Jesus' cloak, Jesus turned and saw the woman, and he said, "Be happy, dear woman, you are made well because you believe." And the woman was healed at once. But while this was happening, one of the servants from the man's house came and told him that his daughter had died. Jesus continued along with the ruler and went into the ruler's house. He saw people there who play music for funerals, and he saw many people there crying. But he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead, she's only asleep." But the people laughed at Jesus. After the crowd had gone outside, Jesus went into the girl's room. He took hold of the little girl's hand and he said, "Talitha, cum." This means, "Little girl, I tell you to stand up." The girl stood right up and began walking. The father and the mother and the followers were amazed. I mean, you would be, wouldn't you? If someone was dead and then they weren't anymore, that would be absolutely amazing. And that's one of the first things that Matthew saw after Jesus had told him to follow him. We keep talking about how if you decide you want to follow Jesus, you will see amazing things happen. And that's just another wonderful example of some of the amazing things that happened while Jesus was walking on the earth. And you really can see amazing things with Jesus today. So if you haven't already decided to follow him, now would be a really good day to do it. See you next time.